Today we're doing two NFL player props here on PrizePicks for Monday Night Football. We got the Eagles versus the Falcons here on Monday night in Philadelphia. Before I get started, you guys, link in the description below. Hop into the premium Discord, $9.30 per month, 31 cents per day. It's where I post all the plays I'm making on PrizePicks. So we have other cappers in there as well, posting all their plays. Super positive community. Really, everyone is in there trying to help each other cash. You guys, every single member in the Discord, trying to help everyone else cash on these slips. Also, to mention, I'm not a gambling expert. It's not financial advice. Simply just plays I'm personally looking at making. Hopefully, giving you guys some insight and analysis to make your own player prop decisions here. But let's get into it, you guys. Eagles, Falcons here on Monday night. Also, stay to the middle of the video. We talk about Daily Grind Fantasy, you guys. Research betting tool that I do use every single day. Link and promo code TUFF in the description below will get you 25% off your first month of Daily Grind. I'll be talking about it in the middle of the video, so guys, keep an eye for that. But let's get into it, you guys. Two player props that I do like here. Eagles, Falcons. We got this game, like I said, in Philadelphia. It's going to be a 5.5 point spread. So, Falcons are 5.5 point underdogs at home for Philly. Falcons lost last week, but their defense played pretty well. And no A.J. Brown for the Eagles in this one. So let's not waste any time, you guys. Let's just get right to it. So the first play I'm looking at here is going to be receiving yards combo prop. I'm looking at Kyle Pitts plus Dallas Goedert over 83.5 receiving yards. So essentially 44 receiving yards for each of them. Looking at this matchup for tight ends, it's generous on both sides. Going back to last season, now defensive coordinators have changed, right? For the Eagles, they now have Vic Fangio. So, but we look at the Falcons, right? They allowed 139 total targets last season to the tight end position, which was the fourth most in the NFL. And Vic Fangio, who is now the defensive coordinator for the Eagles, he was a Dolphins coordinator last year. They allowed the sixth most targets to the tight end position, right? So essentially, defensive coordinator, Falcons, Dolphins, now Eagles. This pass funnel to the tight end position. Let's first look at Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts, obviously, just very polarizing player, all the talent in the world. Finished week 1 with 3 catches on 3 targets for 26 yards. I think the Falcons offense as a whole was just kind of out of whack, and the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is really, really good. Like, it's really, really good, and it's not necessarily considered a pass funnel defense. He did play 48 snaps, and ran the ball 22 routes run, 13.6% target share. I think that increases here, given that they're 5.5 point underdogs. Again, this game against Pitt, if we kind of look at that week 1 game, 18-10, 28 point game total. 28 point game total. 18 carries for Bijan Robinson, and almost 40 plus carries on the Pittsburgh Steelers side. So it was just a really slow game, right? Not a lot of passing, and I definitely think being 5.5 underdogs against the Eagles, which their defense is extremely pass funnel, right? Vic Fangio's defense is extremely pass funnel. But looking at Kyle Pitts' game log, right, in his career, when he does see 5+ targets, we just need 40 from him, I think, in this game. And this has a pretty decent hit rate if he sees that volume, right? In his yards after the catch, he's one of the better tight ends, I would say, after the catch. If we look at Kyle Pitts over here in his yards after the catch, obviously this is going back to last season, but 38.5% back in 2022 yards after the catch, and before that in 2021, 32.8% yards after the catch. He's averaging, at least going back to his first 2 seasons in the league. Last season was just crazy, the play calling and everything, but 5 yards average after the catch, which again tells me if he can see 5+ targets, at least 4+ catches in this one. We should be, average depth of target as well. For Kyle Pitts is, this season 8.3, but going back 11.1, 13. 10 plus ADOT for a tight end, to me, is pretty decent. And again, if he can get those yards after the catch, there should be a solid floor for him here. And even going back to last season, tight ends game log versus the Eagles last season, logging 4+ targets, right? You can see the decent hit rate of the amount of tight ends. 10+ tight ends had 40+ receiving yards. But let's just do also the Dolphins, right? Because obviously players remain the same, but the scheme changes with Vic Fangio, who loves to play too high. And you can see the hit rate on tight ends that saw at least 4+ targets. We saw 9+ tight ends last season against the Dolphins finish with at least 33 receiving yards. So if Kyle Pitts can get us at least 35, I like my odds for this play, considering what I'm going to talk about next in Dallas Goedert, right? So Kyle Pitts, right, I like him to give us at least 35 in this one. I think that's a solid floor for him. Talking about Dallas Goedert, we know that Jalen Hurts likes to target him. He saw 5 targets in week 1. for 31 yards, and that was with A.J. Brown in the lineup. He did play, majority of the snaps. Obviously, he doesn't really have competition. 22 routes ran, 17.9% target share, but that's, again, with A.J. Brown in the lineup. He's got a pretty decent average depth of target, but you can see in comparison to his average depth of target versus Kyle Pitts, right? Which gives Kyle Pitts kind of, to my opinion, a higher floor, but I see Dallas Goedert getting more volume in this one. We look at Dallas Goedert at home, specifically with with Jalen Hurts, right? Pretty decent hit rate over his last 10 games. Over 7 of his last 10 games, he's had at least, at home, at least 30-plus receiving yards, and actually 6 of his last 10, he's had 47-plus receiving yards at home, right? So this is, a super interesting, I guess you could say, game script for Dallas Goedert at home without A.J. Brown, and like I said, the Falcons were pass funnel. Oh, sorry, this is the Dolphins. I'm looking at the wrong one here. The Falcons were pass funnel, to tight ends last season as well, right? They ranked the 4th most targets to the tight end position, and you can see the hit rate for, we saw 11 different tight ends versus the Falcons last season have at least 11 plus receiving yards, right? And even looking at week 1 for both these teams, right? The Atlanta Falcons gave up 4 catches on 4 targets for 27 yards to Pat Freiermuth, and also the Eagles gave up 2 catches for 37 yards to Tucker Kraft, right? So, if we combine those 2 numbers, we saw the tight ends last season for both these teams come out for 64 receiving yards. Essentially just need 20 more receiving yards between, again, 2 more talented tight ends, in my opinion, and Kyle Pitts and Dallas Goedert. So this is the first play, combo receiving yards, Pitts plus Dallas Goedert. The second play I'm looking at is going to be pass completion. It's going to be Kirk Cousins. Now, this is plus money on books right now. So, again, if you don't like it, don't tail, right? This doesn't necessarily have to be a pair, right? This is just 2 plays. You can add 1 play if you like 1 play into a slip that you're already working on, whatever it may be. But we look at Kirk Cousins, right? If he was fully healthy, right, if he never tore his Achilles, this line would be at like 25.5, just right off the bat. Like, this line would easily be at like 24 plus, in my opinion. Last season with the Minnesota Vikings in 8 games, he was over in 6 of 8 games, averaging 27 pass completions per game, right? We know he's a super accurate quarterback, and we know he loves the check down, and we know he loves the tight end position. But let's just take a look at a few things. Going back to last season, Eagles, 3rd most completions to the quarterback position in the NFL. The Dolphins down here at number 9. Pass attempts, right? Eagles 4th most pass attempts to the quarterback position. The Dolphins down here at 10th. Okay, so, but what's key here for me is the yards per attempt, right? We know that Vic Fangio loves to play 2 shell high, right? And you can see here, there are reasons why Fangio lines up. I'm going to put a link in the description below to this article. There are 2 reasons why Fangio lines up in a 2 high shell on the majority of snaps. 2 high defenses are hard to throw over the top, which limits big plays. This defense style has reduced the number of explosive plays in the NFL, forces the quarterback to check the ball down more, and throw it short, which tests the modern quarterback ability to stay patient and not force it. We saw last week, in week 1, Kirk Cousins, his mobility was limited in the pocket, right? And he was throwing off his front foot numerous times. And I think that, he's just nervous about his Achilles, right? Doesn't want to put too much pressure on that, I think. And he was looking to get the ball out quick, right? He really wasn't trying to get hit as well, which tells me he wants to check the ball down and look for easy completions down the field, right? And given that Vic Fangio is already trying to limit that, I like his odds here for his 21.5 pass completions line, especially them being 5.5 point underdogs, right? We know that the matchup's great, right? If we're just talking, like I said, just the Eagles alone, 3rd most pass completions last season. If we look at quarterbacks last season versus the Miami Dolphins, which again was Vic Fangio was the defensive coordinator, we saw 10 of 15 quarterbacks clear this line with at least 25 pass attempts. 10 of 15, okay? That's a very solid hit rate. Also, quarterbacks last season versus the Eagles logging 25 pass attempts, right? Let's see. We saw, let's see how many actual, we saw, let's get rid of this ad. I do apologize. Oh, here we go. Where is it going to go? Wow. Let's see, guys. I apologize. I'm trying to pull up this data real quick. Okay, so last season, quarterbacks versus the Eagles, when they threw 25 times, 12 of 16 quarterbacks cleared this line. The Eagles' defense is extremely pass funnel, and Vic Fangio's defense is extremely check down friendly, right? Low ADOT type of plays. We look at Kirk Cousins' career on Monday Night Football. This has a pretty solid hit rate as well. Again, this doesn't really matter. Teams change year to year as well. But, 20 plus pass completions in 10 of 13 games on Monday Night Football for Kirk Cousins. So, again, I think that given the 5.5 point underdogs, super low 8-out plays, Eagles defense trying to essentially call for low 8-out plays. I like Kirk Cousins here. Again, Bijan Robinson had like 5 targets. Kyle Pitts had 3, so that's already 8 targets to low check down, low 8-out type of guys. And even Kirk Cousins, I think in week 1, he averaged what was his 8-out in week 1? Let's see real quick. Average after the target 7. So his lowest in his career in week 1. I like this spot a lot for Kirk Cousins. So 2 plays for this YouTube video. Let's talk about Daily Grind Fantasy really quickly, you guys. Again, Daily Grind does all the hard work for us as far as the sports books goes. So they take the lines from all the major sports books, give us 1% odds to hit. We can see for the MLB slate today, we got Matthew Boyd under 32.5 fantasy score, 56.31 odds to hit. All right, because DraftKings, Caesars, right, Bovada, they don't have fantasy score lines. They take pitching strikeouts, pitching outs, take all those lines, take the odds for them, and give us, does the math, gives us what their fantasy score would be on DraftKings. So on DraftKings, Matthew Boyd's fantasy score, given the odds, would be 29.7. It's at 32.5 on PrizePicks, giving us a 56.31 odds to hit, which is a discrepancy, right? It does all the hard work. Again, if you're on underdog, parlay play, better picks, sleeper as well, all of these different platforms up here, if you're making plays, player prop bets on these platforms, they give you percentage odds to hit and what's the best play currently is on the board. And again, it's updates in real time. Sportsbooks move every single second. So again, link in the description. You can use promo code TUFF for 25% off your first month. Going back to this, you guys, 2 plays for this video. Pitts, Goddard, receiving yards prop combo. Kirk Cousins over 21.5 pass completions. Please drop a like, hit that subscribe button, you guys, and as always, let's cash.